On January 11, 1942, Japanese troops arrived on the east coast of the Tarakan region, East Kalimantan. The Dutch, who didn't accept it, would attack the Japanese troops, resulting in a fierce battle. The Dutch East Indies troops were pushed back. Then on January 24, 1942, Balikpapan again fell into the hands of Japanese. Following Pontianak on January 29, 1942, Samarinda on February 3, 1942, and Banjarmasin on February 10, 1942. On February 14, 1942, the Japanese deployed paratroopers in Palembang and success in capturing city in 2 days. In Kalimantan and Sumatra, the Japanese controlled the oil field. Japan began to move to Java, which became the center of power the Dutch East Indies government. On March 1, 1942, the 16th Japanese Army landed in Banten Bay, Eretan Wetan in West Java, and Kragan in Central Java. On March 5, 1942, the Japanese succeeded the capturing Batavia from the Dutch East Indies. The Governor-General the Dutch of Indies, his commander, and troops who were beaten back to Lembang with Java were finally controlled by the Japanese. Positive impact of the Japanese arrival to Indonesia. Japan allowed Indonesia as the national language of communication. Japan also initiated the establishment of cooperative and school for the benefit of the Indonesian people. Japanese soldiers trained and armed Indonesian youth. Negative impact of Japanese arrival to Indonesia. Many Indonesians were subjected to physical torture of the death penalty. Japan implemented the Romusa forced labor system. People's voices are silenced.
Japan was involved in World War II. In the 7th of September 1941, Japan suddenly attacked Pearl Harbor. The US military was completely unprepared for the devastating surprise attack. The bombers hit all 8 US battleships, sinking 4 and damaging 4 others, destroyed or damaged more than 300 aircraft, and killed some 2,400 Americans at Pearl Harbor. The reason for the attack was to anticipate an attack from the US Armada towards the Japanese Empire. They don't want the US to intervene in their action in the Asia-Pacific War, but instead, this attack drove the United States out of isolation and brought them into the World War II. This sudden attack made the US declare a strike back towards Japan. This strike back is also the closure of World War II. The President of the United States, Harry S. Truman, gave a command to attack the cities of Japan. Unfortunately, Hiroshima and Nagasaki was the target of the attack. The United States dropped the nuclear bomb above these two cities, killing more than 100,000 civilians. In the end, Japan surrendered after this devastating attack by the US. The Japanese granted the wish of Indonesia to become independent. It was decided that Java would become independent at the end of September, but after that attack, they want to accelerate the date of the Declaration of Independence. On August 15, Sukarno, Hatta, and BPUPKI members called on Maeda to ask about the surrender rumors and received unofficial confirmation that they were true. Hatta then asked Subarjo to arrange a meeting of the PPKI for the following day and went home to draft a proclamation. In the meantime, various Pemuda groups had heard the surrender rumors and held a meeting. This included the likes of Den Aidit, Khairul Saleh, and also Wikana. They decided to meet Sukarno and demand an immediate proclamation in person rather than through PPKI, because they don't want the Japanese to have any involvement in the Declaration of Indonesia. But Sukarno declined their demand because he didn't want to provoke the Japanese. Hatta also said the same thing. This caused Hyrule and Wikana to take some actions. In the early hours of the very next day, they took Sukarno and Hatta to the town offering a stank clock to force them to declare the independence of Indonesia. However, they still refused. Meanwhile, Maeda learned that Sukarno and Hatta went missing. Suparjo went to ring a stank clock and brought Sukarno and Hatta back to Jakarta. They obtained an assurance from the Japanese military that there would be no interference in a declaration of independence as long as it was not associated with the Japanese, as this would be a breach of the surrender terms. Earlier that day, the Pemuda led by Shahrir had produced the declaration. It was agreed that in order to disassociate the document from the Japanese foreign PPKI, only Sukarno and Hatta would be the one to sign the proclamation. The original plan was for the proclamation to be read in public at the square in the center of Jakarta. However, the Japanese authorities, fearing disorder, deployed soldiers to the area. As a result, the proclamation was made at Sukarno's house. The ceremony was very simple. Firstly, the preamble to the draft constitution was read. Then Sukarno, with Hatta by his side, read the proclamation.
We, the people of Indonesia, hereby declare the independence of Indonesia. Matters which concern the transfer of power and other things will be executed by careful means and in the shortest possible time.
Latif Hendraningrat raised the red and white flag of Indonesia, and the attendees sung the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya.